Marketing kind of exists to get you to purchase something that you don't actually need. Because if you actually needed it, you would just go out and buy it. You wouldn't necessarily need to be convinced or even tricked into buying it. And when it comes to makeup, looking at a collection, once you have a certain core collection of specific products, you can essentially create any makeup look possible, okay? You know, if you look into the kit of a professional makeup artist, yes, their kit is large, but a lot of these products are designed in a way that they could be used together. They might be mixing and matching different foundations to create a custom level of coverage, mixing and matching different shades of blush to create the perfect shade for the client. They don't necessarily have every single product under the sun in their kit because makeup is pretty adaptable. You can use it in a lot of different ways for different purposes, and just a few select products would allow you to create pretty much any look you're ever attempting. And with this in mind, and also considering just how saturated the beauty industry is right now, it makes sense why all of the sudden brand new entire categories of makeup are sprouting out from nowhere. The word skin tint, look that up on Google Trends. It only started being searched for a few years ago. Lip oil, low lighter, like these are new words. But it behooves these brands to convince you that these are actually completely different than anything that you already own. It benefits them for you to believe that a skin tint is a completely different product than the tinted moisturizer that you already have in your drawer, essentially keeping us purchasing these same products over and over again, expecting a different result. And I want to talk about that today in Makeup Musings. So I applied a little bit of my Yummy Skin from Danessa Myricks. I'm actually almost out of this. This is my favorite primer, but we're gonna go in with a little bit of the CoverGirl Simply Ageless Skin Perfector Essence. So this, you've heard me talk about in a few videos. It's kind of a weird product. It has these little like pigment beads in here. So what I end up doing is I put it on the back of my hand and then I kind of like, you know, you gotta manually break down these beads. It's a little weird. And then I apply this to the skin and then blend it out with a brush. But I really started thinking about this after my most recent purchase or pass video. And in that video, I talked about all of the bazillion highlighter launches that have come out in the last couple of weeks. But for some reason, none of them are called highlighters. Like these brands have invented brand new names as if it's like a new category of product. Like highlighters are out, skin beautifiers are in. And I know that sounds like I'm saying a funny little joke like, oh, skin beautifier. No, that is the name of the new highlighter from Natasha Denona. It's called the Natasha Denona High Gen Skincare Infused Glow Beautifier. The new Danessa Myricks highlighters are called the Yummy Skin Low Lighters. Even the new highlighters from Fenty, they do include highlighters in the name, but they call them Demi Glow highlighters. Or even the liquid highlighter that Kosas launched, was it earlier this year, maybe last year? The Glow Illuminating Skin Enhancer. And don't even get me started on enhancer. I was trying to look up how many products on Sephora use the word enhancer in the title, and half of them don't even really define what they are. They just call themselves an enhancer. Like the Makeup by Mario cream bronzer, instead of calling itself a cream bronzer, it is called the Soft Sculpt Skin Enhancer. And I know you're gonna tell me like, Kelly, it has different qualities than your typical cream bronzer. Like it's better than cream bronzers and it's a different type of formula, and I get that. But it's still a cream bronzer. Like, what the heck is a skin enhancer? But again, these brands, like, they kind of have to use these names because if they were to just say cream bronzer, the consumer's like, oh, well, I already have a cream bronzer, so I probably don't need that. But do you have a skin enhancer? No, probably not. The amount of products on Sephora, just as a little sampling of products on Sephora that just call themselves an enhancer, we've got the Makeup by Mario Soft Skin Enhancer, the Kosas Illuminating Skin Enhancer, the Armani Sheer Glow Enhancer, the Forever Skin Complexion Enhancing Booster, that's another word, booster, they love booster. The Fenty Eavesdrop Lit All Over Glow Enhancer, like that is one of the new names for highlighters, like a glow enhancer, an illumination enhancer, radiance enhancer. You know it's a highlight, I know it's a highlight, why can't we just say highlight? But with that example in particular, I think so many consumers probably still have like scarred memories in the back of their brain from a decade ago when we were really obsessed with blinding highlighters. And don't get me wrong, there's still a time and a place for a blinding highlighter, but I think a lot of people are turned off from even the word highlighter because of what they associate it with. So these brands are having to navigate that while they're wanting to launch highlighters. They're like, well, we're not going to call it a highlighter because no one will want it if we call it a highlighter. But if we tell them It's a low lighter, it's a glow booster, it's a skin enhancer, maybe they'll want it. Even, like, let's be real, even the product I'm using right now is a great example. This is the Skin Perfector Essence. What does that mean? Just say foundation. But they also say it's not a foundation. They say to use this as a primer. I don't know. It's a product that could be used in many ways, but again, that's how you trick the consumer, because if you say, this is a primer, someone says, oh, I have a primer. You say, oh, well, it's a foundation. Oh, I have a foundation. Oh, but do you have a Skin Perfector Essence? You need a Skin Perfector Essence. And scrolling through Sephora or Ulta, you will find so many nonsensical names, and a lot of them have the same keywords in them. Like, there are certain ones you'll start noticing over and over again, like definer. No, it's not a lip pencil. It's not an eyeliner. It's a lip definer. It's an eye definer. Or word like enhancer. It's not a highlighter, it's a glow enhancer. Or perfector, you know, it's not a powder, it's a skin perfector. Or booster, I feel like you see that one so much, just really vaguely in skincare. Like, they don't really say what ingredients it has. They're just like, this is a skin booster. Like, I don't think there's long before there is a new name for a type of highlight that is a little bit more subtle. Like, I could really see the name lowlighter picking up and people just like using that conversationally, like, oh, well, this is a low lighter. The same way, like, do you remember back in the highlighter craze when the super bold highlights, they renamed themselves to strobing powders or like a strobing cream? I'm like, it's still a highlighter. It's just a really bold one. But again, they wanted to stand out against all these other brands that were launching highlights back in 2015. And if you just say highlighter, okay, yeah. But if you say strobing cream, that's something that's brand new. It seems a little bit different. The example that I think illustrates this the best, and almost kind of grinds my gears in a way, if I'm being honest, is the phrase, or the words skin tint. Oh my gosh. So I was watching this TikTok the other day, and the creator, she was like, foundations are out, skin tints are in. And I'm sitting here like, that doesn't make sense. A skin tint is a foundation. Yes, it's gonna be more sheer, maybe more dewy, it's lighter coverage, it has its own like distinct qualities, but it is under the umbrella of a foundation. So foundation can't be out if skin tint is in, because skin tint is foundation. It's like, I think of it as foundation is the overarching theme here, and if we're being honest, a foundation and a concealer fundamentally are not that different. They're all like coverage products, so we could even just say coverage. For this example, I'm saying foundation. And then you've got 3 different finishes. You know, you could have a cream, a powder, or a liquid. And then under each of those, you can zoom in a little bit more. And most foundations tend to be liquid, but let's zoom in on liquid foundation. Then you have different levels of coverage. You've got your sheer coverage, which has now been renamed to a skin tint. You've got your medium coverage, and you've got more full coverage. But like, the skin tint is still under the foundation umbrella. And don't even get me started on tinted sunscreens. Don't get me wrong, I think that like the line has been very blurred these days between a lot of these different products and like how you could define them, but most of these tinted sunscreens these days are foundations. These are very light, sheer coverage foundations. But then I'll see people being like, well, I'm not even wearing foundation. I'm just wearing a tinted sunscreen. I'm like, well, that's a foundation. At its core, it is a coverage product that you're going to put throughout the face or anywhere that you need coverage, or if a sunscreen, hopefully you're going to put everywhere and put copious amounts of it. But like, it's a coverage product. They're all under the foundation umbrella. But I don't even blame the people that are saying like, I'm not wearing a foundation, I'm wearing a skin tint, because that is what we're being told. We're being convinced that this is like a new category of product, that it is like completely different than a foundation. But that's how you convince people that they need a skin tint. You convince them that it's unlike anything they have. It's unlike anything they could even create, because let's be honest, you could take a fuller coverage foundation, mix it in with like a serum or your moisturizer, and like you've got your own skin tint. And you know, I'm probably not the one to be talking on this because I have a decent sized makeup collection. I like having all these different options, but like, for the average person, do you need all these different products? No, but we're kind of being convinced that we do because they're being presented as something that you've never seen before, that didn't exist. And skin tint specifically, I looked this up on Google Trends because in my head, I'm like, I swear this word just came out of nowhere a few years ago. Nobody was saying skin tint, and now every light coverage product is a skin tint. And when I looked it up, I was like, sure enough, my suspicions were correct. Nothing. Bam! The graph goes straight up. It was like the word or the phrase was invented a few years ago. And in some ways it kind of was, because if we look back historically, I'm kidding, but I'm also not. If we look back, the words, like the concept of a tinted moisturizer, I remember being really, really big when I was like high school, college. And then I distinctly remember these other words too. It was like, I remember tinted moisturizer was really big for a while. And then people were like, tinted moisturizers are out. Now it's all about a BB cream. And I even remember trying to navigate it like, okay, what's the difference? And I would hear people say like, oh, well, the difference are this has skincare, this has this has that. But like I was buying my tinted moisturizer and I was buying my BB cream and I'm applying them and I'm like, weird, they're looking the same, they're doing the same things. And then we got a CC cream. And like, yes, all these products, like you could define the minute differences between them, but like at their core, a BB cream, a tinted moisturizer, these are light coverage complexion products. Like they're all under the foundation umbrella, just like a skin tint. But now it's like skin tint is the new name for tinted moisturizer. The same way lip oil is the new name for lip gloss. And that's another one where like we could sit here and we could say, technically there's some different qualities there. Like in general for a lip oil, you will probably be expecting something slightly thinner. So it's gonna sit on the lips a little bit more comfortably. You're gonna get less like stickiness. But with that, the trade-off is gonna be kind of a lack of longevity. Versus a lip gloss, you might get a little more stickiness, a little bit thicker, but it's gonna last better. But like when you really zoom out, they are the same product. Like they might have different qualities, but they're all under the same umbrella. It is still a lip gloss. And I that is a hill I will die on. A lip oil is a lip gloss. And I say this as someone who loves a lip oil, but I even find it hard to find these distinctions. Like some brands will say something is a lip oil and I'm trying it and it kind of has qualities of a lip gloss and then vice versa. But again, it really benefits them for the consumer to believe that they are entirely separate products with different purposes, with different looks, because then the consumer wants to buy both. That was the Patrick Ta bronzer, but I was just using the cream side and now I'm like, do I do a peach blush today or a pink blush today? The outfit I'm wearing later tonight, and this matters, I always try to kind of coordinate them. The outfit I'm wearing later tonight, I'm wearing like navy blue pants and a white shirt. So I think could go either way actually, but I think we'll do pink. Okay, we'll do pink. Remember a few months ago, I was so off the pink blush train until I got my hands on this. And now, like, it's not even all pink blushes, but this one specifically, it just does something. It's quite literally magic. No, that's actually so dramatic. Sorry. I don't like to ever be that influencer who's like, it's magic. It'll change your life. It won't. It's just blush. But it's beautiful. It's very, very beautiful. Okay, so this is the shade Just Enough. I know the Patrick Ta method is powder then cream, but we're going to do cream then powder. And maybe cream on top too. We'll see. Now, in some ways, don't get me wrong, I do think there can be benefits to having these separate names because as I alluded to earlier, I do think it almost defines these really minuscule distinctions between different formulas. Like if you know you need something super long wearing, maybe a lip oil would not be for you. You might want more of your traditional lip gloss. Or even like the name skin tint versus something just being a foundation and then you have to like click in on it to find out like the coverage level. And then they say, oh, well, it's a light coverage foundation. Versus hearing the word skin tint, you already kind of have a better understanding of what that formula might be. I think it also, in a way, leads to some innovation. When I think of a skin tint that I would buy today in 2024, and I also, if I were to compare it to like a good tinted moisturizer back in 2013, today's product would be considerably better. And I think the idea of always almost like reinventing these products, now there's the expectation from the consumer that their skin tint will have a lot of like skin related benefits to it. Or even going back to the idea of like a tinted sunscreen, that has now made sunscreen available in a lot of shades where a lot of consumers were previously left out from other sunscreen products. And I don't want to overlook any of that, but I do think this conversation can be a good reminder that a lot of products are very versatile when it comes to makeup or honestly even just like anything in your life. Like for example, a fashion related example, I love a skinny scarf. I know they're not for everyone. I would actually argue most people they're not for it and I get that. But don't yuck my yum, okay? I love a skinny scarf. But for me and for most people that maybe want to try out that style, you probably don't have a skinny scarf in your closet, so you could A, run out and buy it, or you probably have something that you could already use as a skinny scarf. For me, it is the robe from my silk, or the tie from my silk bathrobes. That is what I use when I'm using a skinny scarf. I just take like the black tie and then use that as my scarf. Genius, you should try it. But, or even like right now when capris are coming back into style, and again, I know that is also not for everyone, but like, I think so many people are now seeing this and thinking, let me run out, let me buy capris because I want to participate in this trend. But it's like a capri is just a shorter pant, and you already have probably a closet full of pants. So all you need to do is take your longer pant and fold it. Now you have capris. Or even like boat neck tops have been a very popular silhouette these days with like the higher, wider neckline. If you have a regular top and you turn it around, bam, you have a boat neck. But it really benefits these fashion brands when the consumer doesn't realize that they probably already have a lot of these pieces in their wardrobe if they do a little bit of mixing and matching and playing around. But this is the identical scenario to everything I'm talking about in makeup. When you're convinced you don't have something and this new product is so different than anything in your collection, you're so much more incentivized to buy it. Now, I'm not suggesting this is a bad thing. I'm not saying these makeup brands are bad or evil. This is what everyone does. This is how you sell products. But I think it's something that's important for the consumer to be aware of. And hopefully it can save you a little bit of money. So I'm thinking I want to do something pretty simple with the eyes. I'm going to start with this eyeshadow stick from Pixi and kind of use this as my base. This is just like a matte brown. But most makeup products are pretty multi-use. Like you can use them in a lot of different areas on the face. I will say it's like less commonly done. I think people don't tend to do that as often, probably because we have like so many different categories and they're selling us products for everything, but lots of things can be used many ways. Like a bullet lipstick, that could be a cream blush. Glowy blush, that one's super easy. You just mix together any liquid illuminator type of product that you have, whether it's a primer, whether it's a liquid highlighter, mix that in with your liquid blush. Bam, you've got a liquid glowy blush. You can also create a powder version of this though. Mix together your powder blush, do a few dips into that, a few dips into your powder highlight, and what do you know? You have a product pretty much identical to like the new Rare Beauty glowy blushes. If you're wanting to participate in like the trend of like different tinted colors for the like under eye area for brightening, where people are using like a peach or a pink, like I used a pink just now, you can use an eyeshadow for that. And don't get me wrong, I think some of these products are designed for like different areas of your face, so they might work a little bit better. Like an eyeshadow might not be as like smoothing and blurring here, but it also might look beautiful. Like try it. Your collection can be so versatile. I mean, speaking of this that I'm using as my eyeshadow right now, this is a highlighter. This is the Fenty Diamond Balm in How Many Carats? The like, remember when this was super viral years ago? This is so sparkly. I personally probably wouldn't use this as a highlight. Actually, maybe I would. I actually would. I think it depends on the look, but for a certain look, I think it could be really fun, sparkly, but I really love this as eyeshadow. Okay, I did a little wing with eyeshadow, which I guess is another example of using products for different purposes. I almost never use liquid eyeliner. I always just create my wings with shadow. But now I'm doing a little bit of mascara. This is the Rudi Beaubble Brown Mascara. I feel like another one these days is bronzing drops. That one makes me laugh because everyone is doing bronzing drops now, and like by definition, it's kind of just a liquid bronzer. And don't get me wrong, I understand that most of the ones we're seeing now have like skincare benefits to it. They're kind of like a hybrid product, but like still is just a liquid bronzer. But it's almost like we're inventing this new category of like, we've got liquid bronzer and then we've got bronzer drops, when really they're the same thing. I have this little like bald spot in my eyebrow because I had a pimple in my eyebrow and now the pimple is gone, but it's like missing hair there. So I'm gonna take a brown marker and just kind of try to draw that back in so it's hopefully not so obvious that there is a giant bald spot. I'm really liking this pink blush too. I can't tell. Sometimes it's so hard to tell under like sitting under lights and like filming with just a handheld mirror, not a real mirror in front of me. But I'm like, do I have way more blush on this side than this side? Just in case, just in case. This is the Kosas Hot Liner in Mega. And then I'm just gonna kind of smudge that all around. And then just a little bit of the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm in Birthday Cake. I don't think like creating these new names is necessarily like super shady, but I do think it's just important as consumers to be aware how product names and like overall marketing really influence our purchases. And I think in general, just being aware of this allows us to be much more conscious consumers. So I hope you enjoyed this topic today for Makeup Musings. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I will go ahead and see you in my next video. Bye.